So I'm on a road trip right now. I'll tell you the story, and then I'll tell you why, and I went to school not to be a photographer, but to be a pastor, so there's a bit of a preacher in me, so forgive me if I've overshot my Sunday by a couple days, but backstory's no secret. I mean, he suffered, a few failures along the way, and I have too, and most of us do if we're honest with ourselves. And so, a year ago, and not everyone knows this, so this is me just kind of telling my story. A year ago, I started going through a divorce, and has been really painful. And along that time, I started thinking, you know what? I said to my producer Gary, I said, I want to just throw everything in a truck and go. And he goes, what do you mean go? I said, I don't know. I just want to go. I want to do the things that I do, but I just want to go. And so I started hatching this plan that I would get. I've always wanted like an old Land Rover Defender, so I started looking around. I bought this crappy old. That was beautiful. It's great. I don't mean any disrespect to Jessie, who is now the love of my life. Touch wood, she'll keep going for a long time. But I bought this 1993 Land Rover Defender. She's British, right-hand drive, diesel, fantastic vehicle. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I've been driving around. I've been making photographs of the things I want to photograph and the things I don't want to photograph. I just camp and hang out. And the reason part of it happened, and this is where I launch off in the sermon, is because last Christmas a Christmas and a half ago, whatever, a year and a half ago, I was meant to have Christmas with my friends Barbara and Daniel, this lovely Scottish couple that came to Canada to work for Electronic Arts. And they called me first thing in the morning on Christmas morning, and they said, we can't come, Barbara's been taken to the hospital, she's had terrible migraine headaches. And I went, okay, and I'm really sorry. Partly because we were going to do they were going to do half the meal, we were going to do half the meal. Their half of the meal was actually way better than ours. We were like doing salad or something. And they were doing turkey and stuff. We're like, oh crap, like it was Christmas. But honestly, just thought it was headaches. And by the end of the day, she'd been told she had inoperable brain cancer. Operable in the sense that some of it could be taken care of, so she didn't know. A year and a quarter later, she's been told it's definitely inoperable. It's moved into the spine, into the brainstem. She's had all the radiation she can have in the course of her life. She's been on 3 courses of chemo. And it was a wake-up call to me, and it was a reminder. I since wrote a blog post called Life is Short, and it was a reminder. I don't mean to be a downer, but it was a reminder. All of us in North America seem to think that we're going to live forever. Yeah, we know at some point we might, die and go off to this magical land afterwards, but most of us honestly believe that we're just going to be around for a long, long time. And here's this beautiful Scottish couple. They're several years younger than me, and they really believe they were going to be together forever. And Christmas morning, their gift is you have inoperable brain cancer. And I decided to make some changes in my life. And one of the things I really believe that led me to write Vision Mongers is that there are some of us that we can't not do this. And I talk about a lot about this vision-driven stuff, and I use the word vision so many times. I'm getting sick of it. I know Zach in one podcast, he said 2 things. He said that he had an inappropriate man crush on me, which I took as a compliment. He also said something like, if I hear the word passion one more time, I'm going to puke. So I figured the two cancel each other out and we could be friends in a very platonic, appropriate kind of way, which is what I do. But a number of circumstances have prevailed and swung me back to the far side where I'm using the word passion a lot more because, folks, life is really, really short. And I don't mean this to be a pretentious pep talk, but the fact is, if you're here because you have a passion for photography, there's something about the moment, the light, the frame that you love. And I would just encourage you, whatever it is, whether it's a desire to shoot professionally, so-called professionally, semi-professionally, whether it's just a desire to travel the world and see the world, your camera can be the most unbelievable tool to not only begin to experience moments in ways that you've never experienced them, but to see things you've never experienced, to meet people that you never would have. I mean, my camera has taken me all over the world. By the end of this year, I'll have been on 7 continents. I will have photographed things I never imagined. I wanted to be a National Geographic photographer, and life is far better than that. I've shot stuff that National Geographic photographers would never shoot. I've got paid a lot more than National Geographic photographers. Bless them for their hard effort, but my gosh, they work hard for very little pay now.
I am truly living my dream, and it's not because I have no fear. I'm terrified half the time. Fear is something that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the thing that you have to overcome the fear that you have. And I would just encourage you, if you haven't read the book and you read it, that's all well and good. If you haven't read the other ones, that's fine. The thing that you want to do with your photography, don't wait. You know, you're not going to, half of us will not be around when we're 65 or in good health. And the dreams that you have, I'm going to wait until I retire, then I'm going to travel the world. Baloney. You know, half of us won't be in health enough to travel the world. Your 401k or your pension plan or whatever will have gone all to hell by the time that you get to retirement age. Unforeseen things happen. You may not make it. You may be like my friends Barbara and Daniel on Christmas morning expecting to celebrate something that's wonderful and good, and by the end of the day you've been diagnosed with inoperable brain cancer. So my encouragement to you as Dead Poets Society as it sounds is honestly, truly, for the love of everything that you love, grab the moment. And that's the gift of photography, is we put a camera to our face. This stupid box that we spend so much time talking about gives us that. The one gift is the awareness of the moment. One moment, you freeze it, and you can spend the rest of your life looking at it, like Henri Cartier-Bresson's image of the guy stepping over the puddle at Gare Lazare in Paris. And you go, you know, every day you wake up, he's still suspended over that puddle, and today is like, is he going to fall in today? Is today the day he falls in? You wake up in a bad mood, it's like, definitely, today's the day he falls in. You know, God help him, but he's drowning in that puddle. Photography gives us an amazing, amazing gift. Don't get seduced by the gear. Don't get seduced by all of the crap that's the industry. Just fall in love with the moments, because that's what we have in life. If you're married, if you have someone significant in your life, you know what? All you have is moments with them. You're not guaranteed this forever that we talk about. Embrace it, love it, take the best photographs you can. Don't take perfect photographs. Perfect photographs don't move hearts. Take passionate photographs. With apologies to Zach for using the word again, but for the love of God, take photographs that move your heart. It honestly doesn't matter a bit that you make a penny at your photography. That doesn't validate you. You're a photographer if you look through the frame and you make something beautiful that moves you first and then moves other people. So this, again, I wasn't planning to do this. This is, you know, I just want to have another drink and keep chatting. But in the interest of me not talking anymore, you want to do a couple Q&A kind of things before I have another drink, and then we'll kind of keep chatting, because I was kind of having fun because it was dragging me away. If you're not familiar with my stuff, follow me on Twitter. I'm having so much fun. I'm having the time of my life, and I really sincerely mean it when I say, if I can ever help you, I really truly believe that, you know, we've been brought together for a reason, that we love the same kind of things. And people write to me all the time that, oh, you're living the dream. I'm like, yeah, I've been living the dream, but I've been bankrupt, and I've had to fail a lot of times in order to succeed. If I can maybe short circuit that a little bit for you, and maybe you could succeed without the bankruptcy, I would be pleased to be a part of that, because that was kind of an inhuman experience that I prefer not to go through again. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on my blog, and really and truly, with that.
And now Instagram.
And now on Instagram. We'll see how that goes. You know, we're still testing the waters, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like the speaking head thing, but if you want to have a conversation, any questions, anything you want to talk about, I can shut that hell up.
This is more about the trip. It seems like you're going to be gone for a year, right?
Yeah.
Seems like you're already pretty far forward.
Yeah, I didn't plan real well. I got to tell you, I set out on this idealistic, like Jack Kerouac thing. I'm like, oh yeah, but I got to be in Italy, and so I don't know. I guess Atlanta would be okay, and so we booked my flights out of Atlanta, and then I looked at the map and went, oh my God, what's that? You know, I knew it was south.
You were just in New Mexico.
I kind of thought it was like a little closer to New Mexico, so I covered a lot of ground. But honestly, the point of the adventure was the adventure. It was the driving and the meeting people, and so, you know, I've got like maybe 2 dozen images that I'm kind of sort of happy with, probably out of that, maybe a dozen. So it's not like I've been shooting my way across America and discovering this fact. I'm just like, I just want to find parking spots and I can camp, you know, like preferably someplace not a Walmart parking lot, you know, because, you know, my bed's like 7 feet above the ground in the Land Rover, but someone could probably still get up there and kill me in my sleep. So, all my friends, when I left Canada, like, you're going to get a gun, right? I'm not going to get a gun, you know, but going to America, I'm like, give me a break. I spent half of my year with like child soldiers with itchy trigger fingers. The last thing I need is a Glock while I travel through America. You know, it's like I'm Canadian. I'm like, you kind of got to be prepared to use it. So I'm like, let's just have a cup of coffee and talk. You know, one of me take my shit, but let's just not hurt each other. That's the Canadian in me. So yeah, it's been a fast, ill-advised. I'm kind of, I don't know, think first or act first, think later. It's worked out well.
It sounds like you have a little time. So.
It's fun, you know, and I drove through Decatur and I'm like, cool, well, this is time to come back here. Back and I got back for a while. So. You know, I drove through Louisiana. Those of you that don't read my blog, I drove through Louisiana and I got right down in way down south. And looking for something to eat, finally I stumbled across this like little bar in the middle of nowhere. And I walk in. And if you go to my blog, there is a post called I'll Have the Gator, and there's a picture of the actual, like, menu board. And it's like shrimp, frog, catfish, gator, I think oysters was on there, under, like, basket. And so I go up to the lady and I say, not that this needs to be said, I'm not from around here. No shit. But what's in your gator basket? She goes, gator. Long silence. I'm like, is there anything else in the gator basket? Well, I guess you could have potatoes, French fries, or onion rings. Great, I'll have onion rings. Got any beer? Long silence. Okay, she's gonna make me work for it. What kind of beer do you have? Yeah, you know. Let's pretend I don't. What would that be? You know, we got it all. We got Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite. No, we don't have Miller Lite. It's Bud Light and Coors Light. Do you have anything without the light? What, you mean like Budweiser? Yeah, I guess that's what I mean. I think we got a Budweiser. Okay, I'll have one of those, please. So I enjoyed my gator, and then on the way out, she's like, y'all done, hon? Like, I'm still working on it. She says, well, you need anything else? No, I don't think so. She says, good, because we're on our way out for a smoke, so we won't be here if you want anything. Nice to meet you, Forrest. Forrest Gump. Get my car, get the hell out of here. So it's been a fun adventure, and honest to God, life is short. Grab it by the balls, really and truly, because it's not going to last that long. You know, I think if we make it to 80, we're still going to look back and go, oh my God, it went fast. And not to get overly, you know, existential about it, but really and truly, if you got something you long to do, the time is never going to be right. You're never going to get to a place where the money's all there, all your support's in place, all the circumstances fall in line, and also coincidentally, you're not terrified out of your little mind to do it. Just do it, whatever it is, because, you know, that's the only difference. I mean, I was on that thing with Dave Sanders today, who's, you know, he's a great guy, and we're talking about fear and art. And the fear never leaves. There's a project you want to shoot, go shoot it. When I shoot personal stuff, like if I'm traveling, people always say, oh, I'm so scared to photograph people. I'm scared to photograph people too. I'm not extroverted. Even right now, I'm like, I had 12 years in comedy, so I'm just kind of putting on the, you know, talk loud and hope that covers for being nervous. But I'm scared of encountering people in strange places, being rejected when I say mimic your photograph. I'm just more scared of going home without the photographs. You know, it's not an absence of fear. There's never an absence of risk. It's just which risks do you want to live with? The risk of failing or the risk of getting to 80 and going, oh my God, I just shopped at Walmart my whole life, had a great house, and did nothing. Not that there's anything wrong with having a great house or maybe even shopping at Walmart, but it's got to be more than that. So, you know, we make our decisions and we face the fear, and really honestly, you lean into the fear. If you ever read the book, The War of Art, not The Art of War, turns out that's a different book, about very different subject matter. I could kill you all by looking at you. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield is an amazing book, and he talks about resistance to the things you want to do, like art. And one of the things he says really is your fear is it's like a North Star. Don't run away from the fear, lean into it. Like, the thing that you're most scared of is probably the thing you really need to be doing right now. Whether that's your art, or your personal life, or where I don't really draw a distinction between them. Just lean into the fear and go for it. God, that was a long answer to a really short, I didn't know the question was anyway. Anyone else?
What's the best thing about failure? We talk about failure. We always say, like, what's the one thing you learned, but what's the best thing about it?
You learn fast. You know, you really learn fast. I would say if you're going to risk hard, fail big, and then move on. But honestly, I mean, you know, we all fail anyway. I mean, we're all just trying to make it look like we're not taking it until we make it. So why not just embrace it? You know, just fail big. If you have a dream, like, go into it and fail. Because honestly, you look at, and people always say this, all the best business people have gone bankrupt like a couple times. They go, oh yeah, that's really cool. Why'd they go bankrupt? Because they tried. Like, they had this idea and they're like, what if? And that's the basis of all creativity. That's the basis of all art. What if? Well, most of the time that what if is, it's going to blow up in my face and end horribly for everyone involved. Okay. But next time you go in, having learned your lessons, you fail again, whatever. The best thing about failure is it gets you to success faster. Whatever your definition of success, I don't mean financial, it gets you to that what if faster. You fail 3 times, great. But if you're going to do it, fail fast, right? Get it over with. Like, fail, pick yourself up, fail again. It's like riding a bike. You fall 3 times, one day you wake up and go, you know, it might be a good idea if I just kind of don't fall off the bike today. All right. You know, and one day you go, I'm just kind of done with failing on that. You learn your lessons. But I'm still here. It's hard to fail in North America. I mean, you know, I'm from Canada, and we're practically communists anyway, but it's hard to fail. I mean, really and truly, you've got a fixed address, you can at least get welfare. So, you know, and most of us have friends and family that will float us for a while. So, what's the worst that can happen? Someone's going to look at you and go, oh man, you failed. Of course I failed. You know, everyone fails. I failed. You know?
Not anymore.
Bless your heart.
All the time.
You know, the fact is that I think the people that most of us look to in some way as an example have failed. You know, Gandhi failed. You know, I mean, everyone's failed. So rather than run away from it, lean into it. I mean, make that your goal. I'm just going to fail real big this year. And then at least if you fail at failing, score! That may be my new book. Fail at failing. I'm so bad at shit, I just fail at failing. I try to fail.
You need to talk to Charlie Sheen and set him straight.
Well, some people are good at failing.
Speaking of new books, any info there? That you can say?
Yeah, I can tell you everything about it. It's called Photographically Speaking. Over the last couple of years, I've led these workshops kind of all over the world. And one of the things that happens is we sit down and as part of, we don't have formal teaching. I'll sit down and I'll say, I want everyone to show me a photograph. You pull it up on your iPad, your laptop, whatever. Now, when you bring it up, and you shut up. Once you bring the image up, the photographer's done. And I get protests. I'm like, but, no. You have spoken when you created that photograph. You've said everything that anyone will ever get to know about once you've made that photograph. Your words are done. We're going to talk about your photograph. And so I tell everyone else, I said, tell me about the photograph. Tell me about all the elements and decisions that go into this photograph. And usually there's like this long, awkward silence, and then someone goes, I like it. And that's the point at which I like literally want to throw a shoe. I don't care if you like it. And if you do, talk about it. Photographers suck at talking about photographs. You know, we know we like it. Why? That's great. Why? And so this next book's called Photographically Speaking. It's basically the idea that there's a visual language inherent in the photograph. Not everything beautiful that you photograph is a beautiful photograph. People will look at a picture I take in Africa and go, oh, it's a beautiful photo. No, it's not. It's a beautiful leopard in a photograph. It's a photograph of a beautiful leopard. It's a shitty photograph. It's just a bad photograph. They're responding to something, and that's great. And I'm truly happy that they like the cat. But I mean, lolcats, and I can have a cheeseburger or whatever. It's so full of that crap. I'm sure we're pretty done with pictures of cats in some ways. But there's something there. So the question is, what makes a great photograph? And so this book, Photographically Speaking, really skims the surface of it, but it talks about it in terms of visual language. Language is reduced to words and grammar. It's the stuff you got and what you do with it. And it's the same with the photograph. All we've got is, the elements that are out there, the light post, the light, the moment, and then the decisions you make about it. What composition do you choose? In other words, what's your point of view? What lens do you choose? Where do you stand? All of these things make up the grammar and words of photography. And so photographically speaking, the first half is all about that kind of stuff. It's not academic. There's no color wheels and all that kind of stuff. It's just truly about the nitty-gritty kind of not academic stuff. And then the last half is me sort of dissecting 20 of my own photographs and saying, here's why I think they work, or in some cases, here's why I think they fall short. The lines do this. And because often I'll say to someone, tell me about photograph, well, I really like the man in the photograph. Wait, there is no man in the photograph. And that blows their minds. They're like, I don't understand. Well, it's not an aquarium. There's not like little guys walking around. There is no person in the photograph. There's a representation. All we have is lines, points, tones, colors. It's a two-dimensional representation. So you have to line up those. You have to make those lines point where they want. Painters get it. Painters actually have to put the line. We just kind of go, click. And we think our job is done. But the fact is, a really great photograph, the lines have to go somewhere. They have to lead your eye somewhere. There's a pull and a push. And the tones do certain things. Colors affect us psychologically and emotionally. And so, again, I'm not talking about it on an academic level. I'm kind of talking about it on this level and saying, now, how do we make better photographs? And I really think if we learn to talk about photographs, when we raise that frame to our eye, we become more conscious of. So that's the next book. Sort of, kind of. I'm still writing it, so God knows what it's going to look like when I'm done. But
Next year?
Hopefully it'll be released like end of summer, beginning of fall. I mean, I'm working on it now. I just submitted like my third deadline. So it's like I'm cranking it out, and it's the same crap as, this. But occasionally I make it sound like I really know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to throw some of Zach's pictures in just so I can come back.
Never going to be one of your books again. Don't ever ask me.
Better if you ever seen?
Yeah, right? It's not part of my brand. Being awesome.
Zach's friend is suffering. I didn't tell you this. I had a guy call me up the other day and goes, "Is Zach okay?" I go, "I don't know. I'll ask him when he's George. I think he needs a hug." I'm sorry. Okay, I know. But I'm still giving you the hug.
Zach will need a hug. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, hug me. You gotta go see my wife. Wait, no. That's not right either.
Yeah, I'm not down with that.
Just put down.
All right. Anything else before I get another glass of wine? You can ask me. I can get a glass of wine anytime I like.
Glass of wine.
Thanks for coming. I know some of you came because of Zach. I get the feeling from talking to somebody you had no idea who I was. It's actually really refreshing. But thank you for coming, guys. Until Zach kicks you out, or until I leave, which is when he kicks me out. Y'all are welcome to stay. There's probably plenty of Nuki left, so keep at it, or Zach's gonna have to drink it.
No, we're good. We got another babysitter. We got the babysitter for another hour.
Nice.
We're good for another hour.
But honestly, my sincere thanks, and please do engage with me on Twitter because I love the photography community. For all the quirks and baloney about HDR and stuff. If you shoot Nikon, you're still welcome to hang out and talk.
There's a great Joe McNally story I heard.
Oh yeah, so
At a Photoshop world, and somebody was teaching an HDR class, and Joe McNally's walking by, and he stops and he walks in the class, and whoever, it was RC or somebody was on the platform, you know, 200 people taking this HDR class, and Joe McNally pops his head in and stands there. And he's like, oh, Joe McNally's here. He's like, oh, what are y'all doing? He's like, HDR. He's like, oh. Instead of, you know, showing one bad picture, now you're showing 7 bad pictures into one.
I want you all to do me a favor. I love Joe. He is an amazing man, great photographer, very generous. And anytime I'm with Joe, usually there's a bottle of wine involved. And usually if Joe's ordering, it's an expensive bottle of wine. And so I have this thing, and I want you to join me in it. And you can't tip the hat and tell him, but I do this thing where we'll be sitting together, and I will just offhandedly mention Ansel Adams in glowing terms. Like, you know, I was talking about the masters of photography, you know, Elliot Erwitt, and, you know, Gregory Heisler, and Jay Meisel, and Ansel Adams, and literally you see this snap happen to Joe's brain, and each time he's going, Ansel Adams is a hack thief, and it's just seeing Joe snap like that. So I want you to promise me that if you're ever in an occasion where you're having a drink or a meal with Joe, that you just mention, oh, I just love your photography. It's almost as good as Ansel Adams. Some synapse in his brain was it's a beautiful thing to watch. So I invite you to join me in that social experiment. See how long it takes for Joe to be medicated. It's really open. It really is. I had a friend recently say, I get that HDR paints early, but why would you want your photographs to look like a painting? And I said, maybe because they're not good photographs. I don't know. Anyway, like everything else, it has a purpose.
I'm getting my autograph.
Yes, sir.
So big thanks to David. Oh, you're left-handed? Okay, next left-handed. There's a left-handed. It's a Canadian right. Yeah, there's Canadian. It's going backwards and weird. Another language altogether.
David, have you ever heard the term where left-handed are the only people that are right-minded?
It's true. You know, I got to tell you, when I don't know whether Zach called me or I called Zach, and we were chatting, and literally out of the background, is that David? Let me talk to him. Clump, 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 clump. I just want to say thank you, because I think this is the first book that Zach has ever read.
I usually wait for the movie. All those books on the wall over there, Meg's read just about all of them.
It's really right. I've read like a dozen. I'm like, she must be such a nerd.
I haven't even read the title to all of them. But I'm American, that's all right. That's fine. Yeah, so we got a cooler over here. It's got some good beer. We got mixed drinks and water and sodas back there in the makeup room. Thank you one and all for coming out. Feel free to mingle about and hang out for a little bit longer. Yeah, any other questions?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. This is all about for putting him up and giving him sleep. At least not on top of it. Yeah. Awesome. So, drink and go to